Did you know that our dear Alex played this creepy role before? Are you ready for the feast? My wounds have the power to heal. Did you know that 1923 is not Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren's first role together? Sexy and still sexy. It's amazing. She's still sexy. She's like, yeah. You must know Jerome Flynn was this iconic character in Game of Thrones, right? Give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes, and I'll impregnate the Oh, well, if you haven't got the slightest idea, you're in the right place. Here's where you have seen the 1923 Season 2 cast before. Let's start with our lead guy, Brandon Sklenar. It's fair to say that Brandon made a name for himself thanks to 1923, and went on to star in controversial but significant films like It Ends With Us. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not going to go over the entire discography of the actors because that would be boring. Instead, I'll mention a few projects where you might have seen them. For example, Brandon appeared in one episode of New Girl, Season 6, playing Loner. If you're a big fan of the iconic first season of Westworld, but stopped watching after Season 2, like me, you might have missed Brandon in 2 episodes of Season 4. He also appeared in movies like Vice, Midway, and Karen. When I went to see Mickey 17 last week, I saw him in the trailer for Drop, which looked pretty interesting. Apparently, it's coming out in April. Where have you seen Brandon before? Let me know in the comments. Let's continue with Harrison Ford. Next, we have Harrison Ford, who you must have watched in at least one movie, right? I mean, he's a legend. Do I even need to mention his iconic characters, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, Rick Deckard, or Jack Ryan? One thing fewer people might know is that he only has one Oscar nomination, and that's for the movie Witness, where he plays a police detective. Perhaps you've recently come across the Apple TV adaptation of Presumed Innocent. That was actually the second adaptation. Harrison Ford played the lead character, Rusty, in the first one. What do you know? Brandon isn't the only 1923 cast member who has shared the screen with Blake Lively. Harrison also starred alongside her in The Age of Adeline, a pretty underrated movie, if you ask me. Dad, this is Adeline. Harrison Ford has been in countless movies, but I can't list them all. Instead, I'll mention one where he starred alongside a young Helen Mirren, The Mosquito Coast, where they played husband and wife. When asked about his previous role with Helen, aside from calling her still sexy, Harrison had a hilarious reaction. What were the conditions of doing this movie? Because it's downright again. Yep. Since we already mentioned her, it's time to talk about Dame Helen Mirren. Believe it or not, Helen started her career as Cleopatra in the National Youth Theatre in the UK. She won numerous awards for portraying Queen Elizabeth II, both in the play The Audience and the movie The Queen. I've never been hated like that before. She also played Elizabeth I in the HBO miniseries of the same name. Producers clearly love casting her as iconic women. She also starred as Catherine the Great in the 2019 series. She was in the Red movies, as well as a few films in the Fast and Furious franchise. Did you know she played Kendrick Lamar's therapist in the music video for Count Me Out? You texted me at 2 a.m. I feel like I'm falling. And finally, she was the narrator in Barbie. I'm not stereotypical Barbie. Pretty. Note to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie is the wrong person to cast if you want to make this point. Let's also look at some villains, shall we? Jerome Flynn. As I mentioned, his most famous character was Bronn in Game of Thrones. However, you might have also seen him in the 1990s show Soldier, Soldier, or the BBC mystery Ripper Street. Jerome also appeared in an episode of Black Mirror, Season 3, as Hector. Your hot little face blurred. Fist. Dick. Burping. Underscore underscore. Spunk everywhere. Your mom's going to love that on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, whatever. He also starred in Loving Vincent and John Wick, Chapter 3. Have you seen him in any other projects? Let me know in the comments. Timothy Dalton. Our biggest villain is a James Bond legend, the fourth actor to portray the iconic agent. Here's something interesting. He played Heathcliff in the 1970 adaptation of Wuthering Heights. He also starred in a BBC adaptation of Jane Eyre in 1983. Timothy has also taken part in some unexpected films, like Looney Tunes Back in Action